Rob with Two Travel Dads podcast, and also with me is
Chris.
Hi.
Rob's husband. Hi, hello.
That's true. We are coming back to you after we just had an episode about downtown St. Augustine and our favorite things to do and our favorite spots to eat. And now we're talking about a couple of the other places right there in the North Florida coast that we love. We're going to start with St. Augustine Beach because it's awesome. And yeah, love it. First off, what's your favorite thing about St. Augustine Beach, either the beach or the neighborhoods?
I think it's really the beaches. The beaches there are really quite beautiful, really throughout Florida. But when you can get on a white sandy beach and run out into the water and have it not make your feet go in complete
numb.
paralysis. Yeah, exactly. Like they do up here in the Northwest. It's amazing. So I really enjoy being able to just relax on the beach and see all the wildlife there.
Yeah.
And actually enjoy going in the water.
Living in the Seattle area, I think that's why we go to Florida as much as we do and enjoy Florida as much as we do, is that we don't get to swim in the ocean here. Like when we drive out to the ocean and take like the 5-hour drive, we sit on the sand.
Oh, it's so cold.
But in Florida, we get to enjoy it, which is why we love St. Augustine Beach. So it's got it's its own city. So it's got the whole neighborhood structure as well as restaurants and interesting attractions and sites. There's a Publix grocery store, things like that. But yeah, so let's talk about the beaches. There's a couple there that are pretty great. Starting down at the south. No, let's start at the north. Anastasia Island State Park. That is the northernmost tip of St.
Is that the
Augustine
Shelley
Beach.
one?
That is the Shelley one. So it is a huge state park on Anastasia Island because, it's separated from St. Augustine by the Intercoastal Waterway. So that makes it an island. When you get there, directly inside the gates is it's actually the old quarry that they were able to pull all of the coquina rock from to build the Castillo de San Marcos in St. Augustine, which is cool.
Bring your bug spray.
Bring your bug spray because it's one of those ocean hammock areas, so it's kind of that low forest of palms, a palmetto forest, and the mosquitoes really.
Oh, they were intense. They were
my
severe.
gosh. We ended up running out of there. Although we were really enjoying the ranger talk, we had to leave.
Yeah, we felt horrible because the ranger was amazing, but our oldest has severe reactions to mosquito bites, and so we had to get out of there.
Yeah, by the time we were in the car, he was swollen. So good times. So, but that is not the standard for this part of Florida. There's a couple spots where you'll find mosquitoes, and that was one of them. But moving from there and heading out towards the beach, it is a state park, so it does have a day use fee, which is not bad. I think it's like $8 or something, maybe $6. But when you head out to the beach, there's some large parking areas. There's some places for you to put in kayaks into the Salt Run, which is kind of a little inlet right there. But once you're at the beach, there are boardwalks to take you across the dunes, or if you want to hike along the ridge of the dunes, there's actually a boardwalk for that also. And it's just beautiful. What was the sand there, the pink sand or the white sand? I don't remember.
Oh, no, it was the pink sand. It was really
sand.
Shelley sand.
Yeah, so gorgeous, fun, windy.
Yeah, the water was still nice. I mean, it was great. The kids were able to look for shells, and they just like to dig in the sand. So they could have stayed there for hours just digging and trying to create tunnels and little crevices and stuff for the water to go through and making their little pools.
Yeah, so it's a really awesome, it's the easiest beach to get to from downtown St. Augustine. Just hop across the Lions Bridge, and then another, 5 minutes and you're there. So that is going to be for sure something to put on your list of things to do, if for nothing else, for its convenience. And then going south from there, there's a couple other beach access spots, like directly next to, I think it was the Embassy Suites Hotel. There's a beach access spot. There's another one a little further down that looks like a dead end, but it's got some parking. It's another beach access. But the Ocean Hammock Park has a large parking area, and it's got another one of those great boardwalks that takes you through. It's almost like a little miniature, palmetto swamp, kind of.
I would say swamp. It's definitely a swamp.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like as far as like geology goes, it's just this pool of water that has the most perfectly still green algae surface to it that you've ever seen. Not in like the creepy gross way, but
No, it's pretty. Just
yeah.
don't fall in.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. So you walk across that, and then that takes you out to the dunes. You cross the dunes, and then you are down on this one's the white sand one,
This
right?
is the white sandy beach.
Yeah. And we say
Like sugar sand.
yeah, it literally what is like somebody took a whole bunch of sugar and dumped it on the beach. It is that fine and beautiful. And when you go to leave the beach, it is so fine and beautiful, like sugar, that it is stuck to you. And it's kind of difficult to get off.
Oh, it's not bad though. I prefer that sand over the shelly stuff any day.
Oh, see, I prefer the shelly stuff over that.
It makes it. I feel like well, for me, putting back on my sandals after that type of sand experience is much more comfortable than the other.
Oh,
But
I guess, yeah, like in terms of blisters and
Oh,
how
yeah,
that
I don't like
happens.
blisters.
Okay. Yeah. Sold. But yeah, so Ocean Hammock is a really, really wonderful spot. And we went there actually on this last trip, we went there twice because it's conveniently located as well, has lots of parking, and is beautiful. So you can't go wrong. A couple other beaches along there is there's Crescent Beach, and that is right down by Matanzas Beach. And those are down at the south end of the St. Augustine Beach area before you start getting into like Marine Land and Palm Coast. So without leaving the area, you've got 5 or 6 solid beach options just right there. So plenty of fun to have on the sand. And since we're kind of, if you're following along on a map, which you're probably not, but whatever, we've headed
you can
down
find
to.
one in the show notes.
I will put one in the show notes. That's
Okay.
perfect. The show notes is where it's at. Literally, all of our information will just sit right there. As you are heading down to the south part of St. Augustine Beach, there is a national park site that I think is one of the coolest. I like it just as much as the Castillo de San Marcos. It's called Fort Matanzas National Monument, and it's free, which is awesome. What do you want to say about it?
Is that the one where we also had to run through?
Okay, so before he says it out loud, depending on the time of year you go, you may encounter mosquitoes.
I just like to make sure people are prepared.
It's true. So
I don't want to throw you in there and be like, those people didn't tell us about this crazy swarm of mosquitoes to watch
Yeah.
out for. Even though the fort is really amazing and it's super cool, you must make it through
Yeah.
a cloud of mosquitoes. And I don't know what time of year, but just be prepared with bug spray. That's all I'm saying.
So the first time we went there, it was in November, and it was mosquito heaven. Like it was intense. Like running with the kids, protecting them until we got down to the river. Down at the river, it was fine. Not a mosquito in sight, which is great. And like when we got out to the fort, because Fort Matanzas is across the river, so you actually have to take a little ferry to get over
super
there.
cool.
It's absolutely beautiful. We have a whole article about it on twotraveldads.com, so that will be linked in the show notes. But then I also went back to Fort Matanzas this summer. I was there in June. There was not a mosquito around. It was amazing. Got to do the Matanzas Overlook Trail, which is another cool boardwalk. They love their boardwalks in Florida. Thank goodness. They makes for fun, easy hiking. But got to do the Overlook Trail, which is this great winding nature trail through the palmetto forest, and saw some of the most enormous spiders and spider webs I've ever seen. Chris would have freaked out because they were like 3-4 inches across, and their spider webs were several
I'm
feet.
not a fan.
As somebody who doesn't really mind spiders, I thought it was the coolest thing. And I was there with a couple kids because I was there with a friend, and her kids also thought it was amazing. So I was not alone in that. And also we saw some, what were they called? Black rat snakes or black pine snakes?
Nope.
I don't remember. You weren't. He wasn't there, but again, just
I like spiders and snakes behind glass.
I like them in nature. But one of the cool things about this very specific trail is that these enormous black snakes, I'm talking like 4 to 5 feet long, they find their way onto the palm fronds and they just kind of hang out. And if you are walking and you accidentally bump one of them that's kind of going over the trail, the snake freaks out and it drops to the ground and slithers, and it's because it's so big, it's really loud and kind of nerve-wracking. If you could see the face Chris is making.
Nope.
So cool. Anyways, Fort Matanzas is awesome. You get to ride the little ferry across the river. You get to climb up a ladder through a narrow opening in the top of this old coquina fort.
Sounds like a few challenges to get to this cool place.
Oh, it's totally there's totally challenges to it, between running through the mosquitoes, hopping a boat, climbing a ladder,
Avoiding raining snakes.
avoiding raining snakes. It's like if Indiana Jones went to Florida, he'd go here. But it really isn't that bad. It actually, just trust me. Don't trust him. Trust me. It's amazing. And I recommend it. And it's free. And we love free activities. And you get a national park stamp and your parks passport. So don't miss it. As we head north back towards the main town of St. Augustine, the next, I think, super cool spot is the alligator farm. We've been there a couple times too.
Yeah, the alligator farm is amazing. Just so much to see and do there. The kids were so entertained, but there's so many different species of alligators and crocodiles and then everything in between.
So, and to be clear, so the alligator farm, if you aren't familiar, you might think it is a gator wrestling place because Florida has a reputation for having weird wildlife attractions, such as gator wrestling. This is nothing like that. That you'll find down closer to the Everglades, and some less cultured, less zoological places. I say less cultured just
I've
because
never even heard of this. I didn't know it was a thing.
when we went through the Everglades, there was a couple gator wrestling places. There was like gator wrestling and airboats. Maybe that's another podcast episode we should have. All the things that Chris didn't notice in the Everglades. They're really creepy. Anyways, so the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, it is a really old, awesome zoo. It was built in the 1890s, and gosh, it's got so many species of crocodilians and birds. There's an amazing native bird. What did they call it? Was it a rookery or roostery?
Are you talking about the rookery that was by
With all the
boardwalks?
spoonbills and the
Yeah, that's
ibises?
a rookery.
It was a rookery. There you go.
Rookery.
And it was amazing because spoonbills are one of my favorite birds. They are these pink Florida birds that have bills shaped like spoons, and they're big and they're beautiful. But there's a whole spot there that they just come to roost, and it's awesome. But the highlight of the alligator farm, and it's the reason that I think we all love it so much, is the alligator pond. And I don't know, it's kind of nerve-wracking.
I feel like there's at least 50 alligators in there.
At least.
At least.
It's
They just look like rocks and they stare at you.
until a bird lands on the water, and then
And it may or may not decide to snatch it.
So our first trip there, we were just walking along. It's so again boardwalk, going across this pond, and you're just kind of overwhelmed because there are so many gators below you, and they're not just like baby gators. These are huge.
Oh, no,
like-
they're as tall as you. If not taller.
Yeah, no, these are like 10-foot long.
Yeah. I guess not tall, but like, yeah, length.
Yeah, like long. They're huge. But they're all just kind of swim over each other, and they kind of walk over each other. The ones in the water just kind of staring at you, and
Yeah, they don't blink.
yeah, no, they don't blink. It's weird.
Their eyes are either open or closed.
And if they open their mouths, sometimes they'll do this little,
Or they just leave it open.
and they can kind of do this growl. It's pretty cool. But no, so our first time there, we were walking along just in awe of all these gators, and then we look over, and then all the water's going crazy, and there's like bird feathers, and you can see that a gator is like pulling something under, and it was nature happening before our eyes.
It was like a Nat Geo moment.
It was a total Nat Geo moment. But that doesn't happen every time, but it is just as cool every time. And we love it. The kids love it. And I would say it is absolutely worth adding to
Yeah, they've got
the
tons of
trip.
different birds and other wildlife there too, even Komodo dragons.
Yeah, yeah. So check it out. It's a part of the American Zoological Association. So you know that they've got people checking in on it.
We haven't done it yet, but there's zip lines too.
There are zip lines. I'm not into zip lines, especially zip lines that go over alligators. That doesn't sound great to me. I'm sure
I
it's
bet
safe.
they have a very high success rate in customer
Yes,
satisfaction rate.
I also would assume so, but I'm still not into it. Next
Yeah,
time
and
you
I'm
can
not
do
into
that.
spiders or like snakes
Okay.
flying on me.
Yeah. Okay. Valid points. One other thing that's really cool to do right there in the St. Augustine Beach area is the St. Augustine Lighthouse. It is really awesome. I'm actually the only one in our family who's gotten to go up to the top of it, and I've gone up there twice. It's 219 steps to the top, which that might not seem like a lot, but it is the tallest, or it's the second tallest lighthouse in Florida. Um, we've done the tallest one as well. It's down the Daytona area. It's the Ponce Inlet light. But sorry, I all of a sudden have like this.
That's for a different story.
Yeah, that is a different story. But the St. Augustine Lighthouse is really nifty. It's red at the top, and it has a spiral black and white stripe. There's tons of history there. They've got a really cool maritime museum. It's even got a kids' playground at the base.
Which is nice if the kids are unable to go up.
Yeah, so you got to be 44 inches to climb the lighthouse, and you can't be carried by an adult, just because it is it's a see-through, it's a wrought iron staircase going all the way up, and if you are scared of heights, it's not for you. Just saying. And then when you get to the top, you get to go outside, and again, it's pretty open, and actually thinking about it right now and thinking about looking down and taking pictures, I'm getting this awful feeling inside because it is so tall. But you get an amazing view of the entire area, and it's awesome, and I recommend it. It's beautiful, especially at sunset. And if you like ghost tours, they even do a nighttime tour of the St. Augustine Lighthouse, so you can hear about the ghost of the St. Augustine light, and get creeped out while you climb a tall tower. So depends on if that's your thing. Should we talk about food before we move to the northern beaches? I've got a couple restaurants that...
Sure.
Excellent.
Let's do it.
So the first spot to chat about is really cool. It's the Village Garden Food Truck Park. Food trucks, they're starting to pop up everywhere. We've gone on a couple trips this year that have landed us in food truck parks. When we went to Victoria in May, behind the Royal BC Museum, there was that... What?
Oh, I just got confused. I went from St. Augustine to Victoria.
So I'm talking about all the food trucks that we've come across.
Okay,
There was that cool food truck park up there.
yeah. There really was, yeah.
Anyways,
Like
opposite end of the continent, there was an awesome food truck park in St. Augustine. All kinds of things, from street tacos to wraps to wood fire pizzas, all kinds of stuff.
Bagels.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, and how do you pronounce that? ACI?
I don't know actually how to say
it's
that.
ACA. I think it's ACI is how you say it.
Acai.
Acai.
Acai bowls.
But you know what we're talking about. That word.
Acai.
Yeah. ACAI, that word.
Anyways, yeah. So, trendy, healthy stuff to burgers, all
really
the kind
delicious looking burgers. I didn't get one, but they looked amazing.
Yeah. So all the kinds of stuff that you are hoping for when it comes to like fresh stuff and Florida stuff. It's really cool, and it's an easy stop on your way either to the beach or back from the beach. Awesome. The two other places that I thought we should just mention at least was the Salt Life Food Shack. They're right there in St. Augustine Beach. It's smack dab in the like kind of beach culture area where literally it's people walking back from the beach in the pier, and everybody's covered in sand. And then there's this fantastic restaurant with a rooftop deck. Really wonderful seafood and sushi, and the inside is really cool. It really embraces the surfiness of it all.
What I really liked about that place, just a good plug, is that at that time our youngest was allergic to eggs, and so we needed to find something that met his food requirements, and they were so great at being accommodating and quickly putting something together that he was able to eat. So props to Salt Life.
Yeah, super good and super cool that they take care of people. I love that. And then the other spot that I made a note that I wanted to talk about was Mango Mangoes, which is just...
It's so good you have to say it twice.
That's its tagline.
Uh-huh.
Did you just look that up?
Sure did.
That's really funny. Anyways, yeah, it is so good you have to say it twice. So it's this really cool restaurant that blends all kinds of Caribbean food with your standard Florida stuff, which is just basically fresh seafood. And the big thing I remember there being really delicious jerk seasoning, which, you know, I love jerk seasoning. It's I'll edit that. Mango Mangoes has really great jerk seasoning. I remember having some fantastic shrimp. Gosh, I wish I would have noted what else was super delicious, but we even left with a container of their own
Well, they
spice.
sell their own jerk seasoning, which is delicious. I mean, we use it on chicken and fish, and I think even like potatoes. I mean, it's a really good, flavorful seasoning that you can buy there that they make locally.
When a restaurant makes their own seasoning, you know they're doing something right.
Yeah,
it looks like you were looking for something.
Well, I was just looking. I was like, okay, what did I have there? Because I mean, honestly, we went to Magos like 2 trips ago, at least for me. So it's been quite a while. But you're right. I mean, they have everything from delicious like Mango's coconut shrimp to mahi sliders, to Caribbean jerk tuna tacos. So I mean, they have something there for everybody, and really unique food offerings. So definitely, as Bob said, a place to go check out to have a really good food experience.
Yeah. So this is going to be a little bit longer episode. We're going to move from the St. Augustine Beach area up to the North Shore. Not North Shore of Oahu, even though that place is amazing. But
lots of good food trucks.
Again, yes. See, and there was food truck parks there too.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere we go, we are drawn to food truck parks.
That was the biggest food truck park, though.
But that's something we'll talk about in a different podcast episode.
Yes.
Maybe that would be something we can chat about as a podcast episode all about food trucks. But on the north end of St. Augustine, so you drive, back through the town, and then you head north, and you got to cross another bridge, and that puts you in the town of Volano Beach, and then just north of there is Ponte Vedra Beach, and that is where we've spent actually quite a bit of time both doing beach stuff and doing some cool learning. So the first thing to know is that most of the northern part of St. Augustine, it's all protected preserve. So it's called, okay, you ready? Do you remember what it's called?
No.
Do you want to guess? Do you want to try and say it?
It's GTM something.
It's the Guanatolomado Matanzas Estuarian Nature Research Reserve.
There you go. Good job.
Yeah. So they also just call it the GTM.
I like that.
So up in the GTM, it's got everything from the Tolomado River, which, you'll find manatees and fish and all kinds of other stuff, and pelicans. It's got the Tolomado River. It's got the dunes. It's got a low ocean hammock palmetto forest. And then there's the dunes on the other side of the A1A highway that lead you down to the beaches. And one of the things to know about wildlife on the North Florida coast is that they've got a lot of turtles that come to the shore to dig their nests and lay their eggs. And then they've also got tortoises. And the tortoises do not belong in the water. They live in the dunes, right? So we got to see, actually the last 2 trips I've seen tortoises. Did you guys see the tortoise on this last one?
Nope.
Oh, well, we were there with some with our crew filming a Best Western webisode, and
I think we were picking up like bottle caps.
Okay.
And
yeah, you guys were still cleaning up trash. That's true. But no, so Mason was walking back to the car to grab something, and saw him just standing there. He was watching a gopher tortoise digging a hole in the dune wall, and like there was sand flying everywhere. And
cool.
Yeah, and then when I got up there, the tortoise was just sitting there and all that because he was his butt. But it's really cool. If you see a tortoise, it clearly looks very different from a turtle. Leave it be. It is not trying to get back to the water. Don't go put it in the water. They've got signs up that remind people not to put the tortoises in the water and just to leave the wildlife be. But it is something cool to watch for. And you'll see them all up and down the GTM Reserve, which actually goes all the way down south of Fort Matanzas down to the Marineland area. So it's a really cool, big area to explore. The highlight for the kids there, I have to say, is probably the education center, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and so do the kids, especially when they get a scavenger hunt. I think that always, for our kids, anyways, generates interest. So Oliver spent his whole time trying to complete the whole entire thing, which got him completely engaged in um, every part of the educational center.
Yeah, it's really cool. And besides the specimen drawers and the dioramas, they've now got a new part of the GTM Research Reserve that has native reptiles on display. So they've got some baby gators that they're raising, and there are snakes behind glass, um, fish. It's really cool. It's worth stopping into, learn a little something, and while you're there, you can also volunteer to do something like a beach cleanup, which we just got to do, and it was both sad and fascinating.
Yeah, it was really eye opening. Of course, they provide you with the garbage bags and and latex gloves, or latex free gloves. And then what was interesting is because they're also a research arm, and so they wanted to collect data too at the same time. So they provide you with this data sheet so that as you're out collecting, finding collecting garbage, you can identify what type of garbage you're finding. So whether or not it's a bottle cap or a water bottle, or whatever it might be, you're keeping tally of
Fishing
those items.
line,
Fishing line, microplastics.
tampons.
Um, I didn't find any of those.
I didn't either, but it was on the list of things we might potentially find.
Got it. But what was interesting is that while I was calling out everything I was finding, what peaked to the top were bottle caps and the like bottle caps, those type. There were so many, and it's just so interesting because you don't need water bottles. You can fill up water from your tap into a reusable water bottle and just drink that.
Yeah, most of North America has safe, clean drinking water straight out of the tap. There are very few exceptions,
And it doesn't taste like plastic.
it doesn't taste like plastic. There's actually more regulations on tap water than there are bottling water or bottled water. So just spend a day doing a beach cleanup. You'll never buy a bottle of water again in your life. Well, maybe not, but it is eye-opening to actually like see it and pick it up and pull it from that habitat. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was fascinating. The kids were very interested and involved in that. It's
Well, we do beach cleanup at home too.
yeah,
So
yeah, we do. But our beach cleanup here is very different than what it is in Florida. Like here, I feel like I find fishing line and maybe bits of styrofoam.
I found lots of bits of styrofoam in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, because I was actually going into the big piles.
oh yeah, you were
of
kind of at the
like,
base of the dunes.
well, and I was looking in. You can see where stuff washes up. So all of it wasn't quite seaweed, but like seagrass and like sticks and dry wood and these types of things. Um, and inside of there, if you really get inside, that's where you will start finding microplastics and bits of styrofoam. So I found chunks of styrofoam, but imagine how much styrofoam breaks down to one little individual ball. I found so many of those.
yeah,
And so they'll last forever
yeah,
if you don't pick them up.
it's kind of bonkers the amount of trash that
really
you just don't even
bonkerballs.
realize that you're walking past on the beach. So, and let that be some inspiration wherever you are going to the beach to actually like spend maybe 20 minutes doing a little beach cleanup before you lay down and relax. Not difficult, and it has an impact. But so we got to do that with the GTM Research Reserve and actually document what it was that we were finding and then return it back to them, and they used that data for all kinds of stuff. They provide it to the state, they provide it to local schools, and yeah, it's worth doing. The last thing though that we got to do right there in the Ponte Vedra beach area, it's kind of like beach cleanup, only it is more exciting. And yeah, we got to go shark tooth hunting. What did you think of that?
Oh, I thought it was really cool. Kind of difficult at first, and I gave up and I started walking down the beach until I just saw something. I was like, oh, maybe that's a shark tooth. And well, yep, it was.
Here, this is the sound of shark teeth in a little container.
Sounds like runts.
It does sound like runts, but if you could see what I'm looking at, what I've got here is about, I don't know, 40 to 50 shark teeth. What they look like, they're almost black, so they're mostly very dark charcoal
Really
colored.
shiny.
They're very, very shiny. So think about, gosh, how many teeth do sharks lose a day? I forget. You're
5.
good at this. So they lose 5. Sharks lose 5 teeth a day. Now imagine millions of sharks in the ocean over a couple million years losing 5 teeth a day. That's an insane number of teeth. And because of how fossilization works, the teeth, as they just roll along the ocean floor and wash up on the shores, those minerals are getting replaced with minerals from the water and from the sand around them until they become fossils. So you end up with these incredible, basically stone teeth. And once you understand how to see them, so what you look for, and we talk about this actually in the blog posts about the best things to do in St. Augustine. I've got a whole section all about shark tooth finding technique and what to look for. But what you're looking for is something to catch your eye that is very dark and probably is pretty shiny and is probably going to be partially covered by other shells. So because the shark teeth are fossilized, they're heavier than seashells. So they kind of fall to the bottom of the pile. So a couple things you can do is just walk around and just use your eyes and wait until something stands out to you. Or you can get down and just kind of sift through it, kind of like your gold panning, and see what you find. And you'd be surprised at the number of teeth you find. Yeah. I'm looking at this wonderful little container. Oh, and there's more than shark teeth, too.
Found manta ray teeth, right?
Yeah, fossilized manta ray teeth. Other things that we're not exactly sure what they are. And then I think my favorite find was actually the fossilized prehistoric horse teeth. So thinking about the oceans and just, how long they've all been around, you get to kind of see the evolution of life.
How long have those oceans been around?
However long the Earth's been around. Shut up. Anyways, it's amazing to be able to walk around and find fossils. That's the point of the story.
Oh yeah, the kids had a blast.
Yeah.
And so did the people that were with us.
Yeah, it's a great pastime. You can do it both in the southern beaches of St. Augustine, like Crescent Beach is one that a lot of people recommend. We did it at Middle Beach at Ponte Vedra and the GTM Reserve. I've also done it up at Mickler's Landing, which is a beach just to the north. It's just south of Jacksonville Beach. So if you're doing a Jacksonville trip, it's really easy to get there. And there's great parking and there's showers and everything there. But yeah, it's a really cool activity, unique to Florida, I feel like. I know you can also find a lot of shark teeth in South Carolina. And I'm pretty sure up in Georgia and stuff too, but we've never just found them anywhere else. But yeah, add that to your list. Coolest souvenir we've ever come home with. And now we have a couple of quick hits for food to talk about, and then we're going to wrap it up. So the first one is a place we went to actually a couple of years ago, and it's still there, still serving up all the same stuff. It still is awesome, according to our friends that we were with. It's called Aunt Kate's. It's on the Tolomato River, which, again, that's right there at the GTM Reserve. It's the Intracoastal Waterway. Do you remember what Aunt Kate's was famous for?
I think they had some. That's where I had a delicious Menorcan clam chowder.
It is. It's the first place we had Menorcan chowder.
Mm-hmm. And also they have fried green tomatoes, which is something that's deliciously southern. And I also know that I had really delicious crab cakes there.
And there was one other thing that I thought you would remember.
Shrimp?
I do remember I had shrimp. And the shrimp were great. So
Sweet tea?
No, that's never going to be good.
No, but so they like it in the South.
I know a lot of places on the North Florida coast actually get their shrimp from the Gulf instead of off the coast of Florida. So
yeah,
little FYI. But no, they had conch fritters.
Oh, that's right, conch fritters. Yeah, I did remember that, and I meant to say it, but it left my brain for a second.
Yeah. So conch fritters and daddle pepper sauce.
Yeah.
More of the daddle peppers, but if you haven't had a conch fritter, I don't really know how to describe it.
Well, it's kind of like
So first,
clam strip in a way.
Tell us what a conch is.
It's a snail.
Yeah, there's no good way to say it.
I mean, you've got clams and oysters and snails, but a conch is a snail.
A conch is a snail. So conchs are larger snails. So they take the conch and they remove the fleshy bit and just kind of chop it up.
Yeah.
And then, do they batter it or roll it in dough, dredge it?
I think all of those ways.
Yeah.
I think that they'll batter it. I think they'll put it in like a chowder. I think they'll do many different things with it.
So I know that the sound of my voice makes it sound like it's not good, but they are actually pretty darn good.
Yeah, they're not bad as long as they're done right.
Yeah, they get an actual pretty good texture, and it's all about the dipping sauce that comes with it. So at Aunt Kate's, the daddle pepper sauce, delicious, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the street is another place where we were just at. It's the Reef. It's an oceanfront restaurant, and again, the daddle pepper sauce, it keeps on coming up everywhere. You have a funny look on your face.
They were right across the street from each other?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
So when you leave the parking lot from the Reef, you continue on to that road that literally is across the street. That ends at Aunt Kate's. They're literally like right there. Like you could see one from the other.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a couple years between.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the intersection to get food. But the Reef was great too. I really enjoyed their daddle pepper cocktail sauce. It was great.
That's what came with my shrimp.
I know. It was tasty. I enjoyed it. I put it on my pasta, which I don't think it was meant for that, but it was super good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that place was delicious. Amazing views right there. I mean, we were just hanging out at the beach and stuff right there, and then got to go have lunch. But also really delicious chowder. Theirs was a spicy chowder, if I remember right. That had a little heat to it, but it was also really delicious. And I remember one of our friends that was there with us highly recommended their Gulf shrimp platter, and the shrimp it was just really amazing. And our son loves his shrimpies.
Elliot kills the shrimp.
He was so excited to have a platter of shrimpies, and but these weren't like shrimp. I mean, these were huge.
They were prawn size.
The texture was perfect. The batter was delicious, and with that daddle pepper sauce, again, it comes back. It was amazing.
Well, that's basically all that I had on the list of things that I wanted to share about both St. Augustine Beach and then the beaches at Pontevedra. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
If you're all of a sudden short of beach gear or beach attire.
Oh my gosh, how did we not talk about my favorite store on earth?
I don't know, what is it called?
Alvin's Island. So I just got really excited about this. So I should have talked about this before. So Alvin's Island is it's like the beach superstore of St. Augustine Beach, and all of it.
I would say superstore.
It's a superstore. Anyways, all of their T-shirts, everything says St. Augustine Beach on it. Like that, it's not like it's a national chain. It's very specific to St. Augustine Beach. But you can go in and get new swim shorts, get a tank top. Unfortunately, it is kind of fast fashion, so they're not the best quality sometimes. Like you can shop through and find some good stuff, but other than that, you're getting inexpensive beach gear. But
you have beach mats, beach towels,
glasses,
hats, sunglasses,
beach toys. But it's all
sandals.
It's great. It's all inexpensive, and it's
there's many choices.
Yeah, we have had to stop in there several times. We never want to recommend just buying stuff that is disposable, but if you are in a pinch and you would like to be able to use beach gear, it is great beach gear that you can get inexpensively, and then you can leave it with your hotel. Did you have another?
That's a correct statement.
Oh, okay. You tapped me like you had something else to say.
Oh, no, I'm just stretching.
Oh, okay. So then that, I think, wraps up everything that we wanted to share about St. Augustine Beach and Pontevedra Beach. If we think of anything else, we'll add to this. Check out the show notes for links to a whole bunch of stuff that we're talking about, and to check out some other episodes, both about St. Augustine Beach and other podcast topics. So have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you later.
See ya. Go find sunshine.
I want sunshine. Two Travel Dads Podcast is written by Rob and Chris Taylor and produced by Rob Taylor in Suquamish, Washington. If you would like to be a guest on the Two Travel Dads Podcast or would like to sponsor it, go ahead and visit us at bit.ly/2TDWork.